Hey everybody, Jim the Tabletop Engineer, and welcome to a new episode of the Tabletop Engineer. In this week's episode, I am going to do a product review of blacksitestudio.com, the Sundered Empire. This is a lasercut kit that they sell that was made for the Relicblade skirmish game. I play Relicblade, I also play Frostgrave, and this would be perfectly suitable for Frostgrave. But this is not a paid product review. I bought this with my own money back when it was announced. It came in right before Memorial Day weekend, so I sat down and I have glued up all this stuff together, and I'm going to share some of it with you. But if you have any questions, post them in the comments below. But let's get to the tabletop and let me show you this kit and let me show you what it contains. I'm very impressed. All right, so here is the Sundered Empire from Blacksite Studios. You can see it comes shrink wrapped here. It looks to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, actually 15 pieces of laser cut board. Actually, it may be more than that because this one looks to be 2 parts. But you can see 14 levels here. I'm going to go ahead and open this up. I hope this isn't a mistake where everything goes flying. While I'm opening this, I wanted to talk to you. The reason I ordered this was lately I've been on a kick to create very large terrain dioramas for use with like Frostgrave or Relicblade, some of the fantasy games I play. This one was specifically made by Blacksite Studios for the game Relicblade, which is a skirmish war game. And if you go to relicblade.com, you can find out all the information you ever want to know about it. But what caught me with this particular product when they advertised it wasn't just the size of it. Here it says nearly 100 components. It was the fact that a lot of it, you could reconfigure it, but they had like example setups to show you how big it was. And it actually, the picture may not do it justice, but I'll grab some screenshots off the internet and share them in this video as well. But I liked the color. I was worried that this was all going to come pre-painted, which thankfully that is not the case. There is some, like this is brown. Here's some gray ones. But it looks like most of the colors are, I mean, they are pre-painted to a point, but this is wood. So it's not going to keep you from painting it whatever colors you want. I wonder, here's a tan. I do like their colors. Very natural looking. Yeah, it's a mix. The first thing I can tell you right now is I don't use a lot, or I haven't in the past used a lot of laser cut terrain. I've never done it myself. I have played with it at other people's tables or at the gaming store where they have it, and I've handled it at various conventions and stuff. But this is actually my first time ever putting together, so to speak, laser cut terrain. The first thing I'm going to tell you is when that plastic comes off is the smell. It's not unpleasant or hard, but it is definitely a burnt wood smell. You're using a high-powered laser to cut out these components. So most definitely there is an odor here. If you are sensitive to that, and I'm sure there are people who are, if you're sensitive to that, that could be an issue. The other thing is you want to open this up where you have some space because as you can see, some parts during shipping will probably become disconnected. So if I understand, I can just press in various places and wiggle, and whatever little teeny, I can see little tiny connectors that are left over, that's all that's holding that piece in place. So yeah, that was not hard. I don't want to break anything, but I'm really not. So that's how easy it is to pull a piece out. You don't need a blade. Now, there are a lot of pieces here. Now, it says nearly 100 components, but I think what that means is when you assemble them. So like the Watchtower and the stairs, I think those probably are considered a component. I could be wrong. But off the top of my head, this looks way more than 100 components if you count all the pieces. This right here looks like it's 30 or 40 pieces alone. So every one of the pieces appears to be numbered. Like this piece that I just popped out is B12. I don't know if you can see that or not. And this piece that was already came undone, it looks to be B9. and here's a B9. So there are same parts that have the same numbers. That's good to know. So here's a B9 and here's a B9. Now, you may also notice no instructions. That's because on the blacksitestudio.com website, you pick the product you have and there are online instructions for making all this. I haven't even looked at what's involved here. I did briefly look to make sure the instructions were online, and they are, but I did not actually go through them because I didn't have this. This just came in the mail today. So I'm very excited to get this put together. What I really like is it looks like I can go ahead and put it all together, and with these base natural colors, I probably can start playing with it right away. But obviously, I'm probably going to do some painting, but not right away. I want to get this thing built. I think what I'm going to do in this video is some time-lapse recordings of me putting things together, because I don't think you want to sit here and watch me for an hour pop all these pieces out and try to figure it out. So I'll include snippets, but when all is said and done and assembled, I'll come back and show you everything I have. But it's a lot, so I better get started. All right, I've got the instructions printed out. It was a 12-page document. You can see how it tells you numbers and things like that. The instructions tell you what tools you'll need. There are things where you'll do just a dry fit, no glue necessary, or glue if necessary, trim or sand. So it looks like I need a sanding block, some cutters, files, glue, clamps. I'll grab those as I need them. So let's just go to the first page here and see. All right, a couple things before I keep working. One is I love the way they add detail to things. You'll notice this light gray brickwork here. Well, behind these two curved pieces are the holes, that you would stick the pegs in, but they've got these stone pieces that stick out a little bit, and they glue over those holes, and they also have two up here on the top, and they also do it on both sides. So that's a nice little touch. Not everything is hidden. I mean, you can definitely see where things come together, but that's a nice little touch that they include enough pieces to cover some of the really glaring holes. Now, that said, another issue I'm having with the instructions, which is not a major thing, you're going to want to track, when you make something like this, keep track of all the part numbers, because what I'm finding is there are enough parts to make 2 of these, but it doesn't tell me in the instructions that I'll be making 2 of these. There is one instance in the instruction, I know I saw it when I looked through it, where it said, here it is, make 2 of these, but it didn't say that here. Also, and I may be confused here, I have some F4 and F5 extra pieces. And I'm assuming that I can make another one of those medium-sized buildings, but it didn't tell me to make two. So I haven't looked through all the parts to confirm that, but I'm sure that when I'm all said and done with everything, I'll see parts that are left over and I'll be able to reference the instructions and go, oh, I can make a second one. But it would be nice if the instructions, told you up front how many of them you're going to make, because you could sort of, an assembly line. So anyway, I'm going to keep plowing forward, but I got to tell you, I really like the look of this little bridge fragment here, especially with the detail work and the top. Really nice. All right, when you're punching out these bridges, especially these long ones on Part O, be very careful. These things were very tricky to punch out, and I really took my time on it. It took about 2 minutes of wiggling and doing some cuts. Now, what I really love about this is a fine pencil, 0.7 millimeter. I'm needing it to poke out these very thin little pieces between the boards. Let me show you how thin these are. Look at these. Can you see that? I mean, that's the detail. Look at that. Just to poke those out, I need this very thin pencil to get at them. And there's a bunch of them. And what it does, it makes the bridge just look really authentic. I mean, it just looks so cool. These will be used in a lot of different places. And the nice thing is the gaps aren't so big that a miniature can't set on it. No miniature is going to fall through these. Look at that. That is nice. All right, and you get two of them.
Each month, Bexham's Bizarre RPG and Wargaming magazine provides gamers with articles, props to print and cut out for players, mini adventures, new monsters, and much more. Look in the description below for details on how to get a few free issues so you can see what you're missing.
Okay, before I show you everything that came in this kit, I want to show you also that it all fits in one box, sort of. The big building, I have the debris and the Watchtower in it, and it just sits on top here. But everything else I was able to get in just a medium-sized container. If I managed to find a slightly wider box, I'm betting I could fit all of it in there and have a lid that would close it up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dive into this and set it all out so that you can see everything assembled that came in this kit. All right. There you go. $93, I believe, is what it's currently selling for. And you can see everything fully assembled here, including the rubble/debris over here. That is all laser cut. That's not leftover bits from punching out things. That's actual cut material that looks realistic. So there you go. I mean, look at the buildings, Watchtower, doors, walkways, some stairs, corner bits for ruins, crates and not barrels, just large crates, small crates, tables, walkways, ramps. I mean, this is just, in my opinion, this was a good buy. This was a good buy. For 3 hours of work and under $100, I've got a set of terrain here that will fit in that box right there mostly. Very portable, very lightweight, and I can take it wherever I go and set it up and have a bit of, have a nice table of terrain ready for my war game. All right, just one last little snippet of video. I set this entire thing up in under 2 minutes. As you can see, all the pieces are being used, including the rubble and debris, some of the fragments of buildings, all the walkways, ladders, doors. I mean, this is just 2 minutes to create that, and that is totally something I would love to play on with a skirmish war game. A lot of uses for this, and I'm really looking forward to playing with this terrain. Very nice job, Blacksite. All right, I am done with the Sundered Empire from Blacksite Studios. This kit right here. It was under $100. It took me about 3 to 3.5 hours to punch out everything and glue it all. So keep that in mind. It's not pressed to fit. You really are going to have to pretty much glue everything. There were 1 or 2 items that the joints were strong enough that you could probably go without gluing it, but I wasn't going to risk it because if a hand came down on it, it would just fold. So I glued everything. So let me just show you some of the stuff you're going to get here. Okay, so like here is the Watchtower. It's really, really nice. You get a lot of these little things like walkways, the wood. I don't know if the nails are going to show. You can see nail holes maybe. I don't know. Might not show up there, but you get a bunch of different lengths of these, short, medium, long. I like the stairs. These are really nice right here. And it looks like you could put the Mini's base underneath and it would hold it. So like if you were walking up the stairs. This is interesting. You've got a bunch of these, about 8 of these pieces. They're like little ruins. You could put these on the ground for scattered terrain, but what they're really designed for is like a building like this. They fit on the edges, basically like this, and they turn it into ruins. And there's some taller ones. Like here's a taller piece. So you could turn a building into ruins like this. What else do we have? Let me show you quite a bit of stuff here. The walkways are really, really sturdy. By the way, I used wood glue on all of this, and these things the bonds are really strong. I mean, you could break it. It's thin pieces, but they're not coming off. The glue is really done well. You get a ton of crates. Here's the long version, and you get some shorter ones. About 6 of these and about a dozen of these. What else do we have here? The bridge. I like this. Here's a part of a bridge, and you get the 2 other pieces that would go, like here. You could put a gap between them, put ruins down here like that. There's a third piece that would go on this side. So 3 pieces in all. Let's see, a lot of walkways of different lengths. Here's a shorter one. What else do we have here? Oh, I like the little wagon. This was nice. A little pull wagon here. I haven't punched the holes out of the wheels yet. I should have done that before I glued it. I did this wheel. I forgot this one. The laser cutting is really well done. I mean, 95% of the parts popped out with just some pressure from my fingers. I was keeping track, and then I stopped. I think I broke 3 pieces in all. And by broke, that was my fault, not the part of the kits. I just, didn't push properly. And so, you are going to have to be careful. These are laser cut parts. So when you're pushing everything out, you kind of get into a rhythm. My fingers are actually somewhat sore. Because the precision is so good at this, there's a lot of sharp edges. So when you pop things out, if there's a piece of wood with a point, it's sharp. I mean, so I got stuck, and I got like little paper cuts, although they're like the wood. So my fingers are a little sensitive. Let's see what else. You got some trap doors that you can put on top of buildings. What about doors? I know I had a door here somewhere. Where's the doors? Oh, yeah, like this, that you can insert into let me show you. So like this building right here has windows and blank walls. So this would fit in here like so to give you a door. What else do we have? Tables. I mean, you get about 6 of these, 6 little tables. There's a lot of, the ladders are really cool. I love the ladders. You can see that. There's short and tall ones. There's just a lot here. I'm sure I'm missing something or forgetting something. Oh, let me talk about there's a lot of cut debris. And by debris, I mean things like this, rocks that you can glue and make little debris piles. You have a lot of extra fiddly bits like this. This is cut out. It's just extra pieces that are meant to act as debris. And I mean, if you can see here, I've got a ton of this. All of this is laser cut. This is not counting the debris that you have left over from punching out all this stuff, you know, the junk like this. Okay, I'll probably keep some of that because it always looks like, you know, something you would burn or something that would be a rubble that would be beneath the building. But this pile right here, which is pretty good, this is enough debris for any table. What else can I tell you about this? The scale of it. All right, so it definitely is designed for 28 millimeter miniature gaming. The scale of it is a little bit smaller than the stuff I craft, and that's to be expected. A laser cutter can do much more precise things like doors and stuff, whereas when you're making them craft and you're cutting foam and doing stuff like that, we tend to sometimes make things a little bit larger than maybe they should be. I know I do, maybe not you. But putting this next to some of the terrain that I've crafted, the scale is off. So, I mean, it's not off on either one. It's just they don't match. So there is enough here, they say, to make a 2x2 area, which is designed for the game Relicblade, which plays on a 2 foot by 2 foot square. But they say there's plenty enough to provide a 3x3, which is like Frostgrave and similar skirmish games. I have no doubt. I'll take a picture and put it at the end of this video of everything that's sitting here and some close-ups of some stuff. And you'll see that for under $100 and for about 3 hours, maybe 4 max of your time, not counting cost of glue, and I didn't use much glue, not a bad deal. Not a bad deal to end up with enough terrain for a fantasy-style skirmish game in a box. And when I say in a box, I mean, you saw in the video, these were 14 stacks of thin 1/8 inch wood, and all of this came from that. And I'm quite impressed. Now, are there some cons? Well, the only cons I have are, those of you who have followed me, you know that in a previous life, my job was a technical writer and editor. So I wrote a lot of instructional material. So the instructions are good. You have to really look at them a couple times to figure out what they're meaning to do. I have been in touch with Blacksite Studios through Facebook, and they're good tech support. I had a problem. I thought I was missing some pieces, or because I had extra pieces and they weren't in the instructions, I didn't know what those were. It was just a quick message, and I got some responses from them. Ultimately, what I ended up with was maybe about 10 or 15 laser cut pieces that are just either spares or I quite honestly don't know what they're for. But the instructions are definitely not 100%. Now, by the time you watch this video, they might be, because I did tell them some of the things I found, and I found more. As I was writing, I'll flip it to you here. You know, I was making notes about what I was finding that didn't make sense, or things that weren't labeled. For example, nothing major. Pretty much 99.9% of what I bought was actually in the box. There was one piece, a very tiny little dot, that probably didn't, during shipping, it must have come loose. I never found it. But it doesn't matter. It was just a little tiny circle that I could replace with a bead. All right? So just be careful if you bought something like this that's packaged the way it is. Just be careful when you open it, that maybe you open it over a box or something so things fall in it so you don't lose. I opened it up in my workshop here, and I put all the plates in all different places, and that little piece is probably on the floor here, but I'm not going to find it for a while. All right, that is all I have for you with this. Again, this is Blacksite Studios Sundered Empire. This is a bit of terrain that was created specifically for the Relicblade skirmish wargame, although it is perfect for any fantasy wargame, or even a Dungeons and Dragons, Pathfinder, Warhammer, whatever, for fantasy, whatever. You know, a DM could do a lot worse, money-wise, time-wise. To take 3 hours and have this much terrain. I mean, that in itself is impressive. I might even consider getting another one down the road, although I'm going to keep an eye on Black Site Studios and see if maybe they do more of these fantasy style kits. You know, I don't know how many sections of bridges I really need, or how many, you know, another Watchtower would be cool maybe. But yeah, what I have here, absolutely. I could play a game right now of Relicblade, Freeblade, even Frostgrave, even though it's sort of not icy themed. Doesn't matter. It'd be perfect to play it. If you have any questions, please post them in the comments below, and I'll do my best to answer them. I'll put links to where you can look for more information on this. Do check out blacksitestudio.com and Black Site Studio Facebook page, which is where they can be reached, or at least that's how I reached them. And let's see, what else? Please hit the subscribe button below if you want to be notified of when my next video is released. And please come join me at the Tabletop Engineer Facebook page. We post the members, we share our photos, we talk about the projects we're working on. I put all kinds of random stuff on there. Mostly gaming related, but do welcome you to come and join us. And then, of course, please, if you're not already a member, come join us at the Tabletop Crafters Guild Facebook page. We are currently approaching 35,000 members at the time I'm shooting this video. 35,000 members who are all into terrain crafting. And by the way, if you think this isn't crafting, try putting some of it together. It's gluing and pressing, and you know the forms may be cut out, but I count this as crafting, and you can really make some cool stuff with stuff like this. All right, this is Jim, the Tabletop Engineer. I will see you in the next video. Take care.